So now come to the types of common tool steel. What are the common tools? It is very common. I hope that you have heard this name HSS. Okay, this is very common. Okay, and this is basically the mostly used in a lathe machine as well. This is basically the tool element which is frequently used in all the machining elements as a tool. If we talk about the lathe machines, the lathe machine also having this type of the tool steel as a tool. Okay, so high speed steel used for the drill. Okay, cutting tools due to the ability of retain hardness and their high speed. Okay, so at a high speed, they can resist they can having their hardness capability, because at the temperature when they are walking, they are having at a high speed. Due to the high speed, they are coming contact with the other materials, and due to that, they are having the more heat, and at that heat, material gets sometimes melted, and due to the very small melted or very you know few amount of melt or their softness will come inside the material will lose their hardness. But what is required here, that at a high temperature they must not be having a soft, otherwise it will get losing their hardness. And if they have lose their hardness, it means they are being soft, and as soon as they has they have been soft, then it means they are basically compromising their main behavior, their main objectives. It means they will not be able to cut the machining or cut the materials. The machining will not be further happening. Okay, so cold work tool steels and the hot work tool steels. There are basically three kinds of tool steels. First one is this one, which is very common, which is being used. And what are the cold work steel? Ideal for the tool operating below the 200 degrees C. And whatever the you know your machining is required, and in that machining, if you are not exceeding your 200 limit of temperature, then you can use this kind of steel, and which are categorized as a cold work steel. If we talk about the hot work steel, then it means definitely the above the 200 degrees C, whatever the material whatever the tool that you are going to use, that is known as your hot work tool steel. Okay, these are examples. If we talk about the dies and punches, they are not basically having the more and more heat, because they are equipped or they are less heat required during this process. Okay, so they are having less heat required, and in that we can say that are of the cold work tool steels, right? Okay, if we talk about the hot work steel, then it means they are having the more temperature. It means the temperature limit is 200 degrees C. If they are not exceeding that 200 degrees C, it means they are having the cold work tool steel. And if they are exceeding to more than the 200 degrees C during the process, it means they are known as the cold hot work tool steel. Okay, and these are the examples. If we talk about the molds and multimeters, I mean, if we talk about the casting, so in the casting process, that we are not we are having obviously more than the 200 degrees C. Okay, so but in casting we are not desire of any other component to come into contact. Okay, there are no such tool is required, so we cannot take that example here. Okay, so keep in mind. But cutting, if you talk about the during the cutting process during the CNC machining, then we are basically exceeding the temperature of 200 degrees C. Obviously, if you have seen the CNC machining process, so we required some other element, some other foreign lubricant, so that we can keep our tool cool, so that they will not melt, they will not reduce, they will not lose their main efficient work or their main objectives of cutting the tools. That's why, because they are having the more and more temperature. For that we supply some other foreign element for the other material, which is known as lubricant, which are in the form of very kind of the water kind of things, a very milky type of lubricant that we use, not a very thick, very thin, or very having the very low viscosity, okay, of material that we use as a lubricant in CNC, so that we can reduce the temperature of machining component. Okay, so that it means what the kind of temperature they are basically working with, more than 200 degrees C. Okay. Okay, so what are the applications of the cutting tools? Sorry, yeah, tool steel, which is the cutting tools that we have to drill, that you all know. I mean, whatever, I hope that all of you have used once at least in your life, that drilling of something in your wall, or to set to TV or something fan like this. Okay, do the drilling machining, right? So the drill bit that we are used there, that is of the tool steel. Okay, so all the drill machine is not of you know steel tool, but the drill bit which is basically responsible for holding the material, that is your of uh, steel tool. Okay, the molds and dies that I have discussed earlier, punching and formation forming tools. Forming tools, what? Punching. I mean, I have already, you have a sheet of material and you punch the a die over that so that you can have this desired shape. Okay, and the rest, the thing is going to be as a your waste materials. Okay, but in the same sense, in same working process, if your desired thing is of the rest of things, whatever the things that you have punched over, that is not desirable things, that is your waste, and the rest sheet is your desirable thing, then it is known as blanking. So the same process, but I mean, it depends what is your objective. According to your objectives, your process is going to be defined. Okay, if your objective is to get the punched material as a final product, then it is your punching. But if you are having concern over only the sheets that are being removed, that is being your final product after punching, then it is known as blanking. Okay, this is a just so suppose you have the sheet, and then and you I mean, very common example of keeping the files, keeping the pages or your documents into the file. Okay, in your file. Okay, so you have seen the file, there have the your punching machine, you punch the paper. Okay, so then you can see the two circle of the same places, you get the hole in your pages. So in your in that example, you are basically using a blanking, not a punching, because whatever the things that have been come from the punching, you have removed that, you have that are of your waste material, that is not going to be used as your final product, you have just leave that. Okay, so this is a the best example of blanking. Okay, so if you talk about, and if you talk about the forming, that is the best example of your whatever the blacksmith do in a locality, that is of example of formings. I hope that you got all the things clear here, right?